Hey folks, welcome back to another HP Gaming GameLINK video. It's a bit crazy today. Everyone's a bit down, everyone's a bit tired, everyone just CBF. We're going to be trying to perk up other people, make ourselves miserable, make ourselves the most miserable as we explore Keith Baker's new one, Gloomier, A Night at Hemlock Hall. Meh. Hey folks, welcome back to another GameLINK video. As you are aware, or should be aware by now, my name is Matt, and I am not the sorry sad sack you saw earlier. I'm here today, of course, as I said at the outset, to talk about Gloomier, A Night at Hemlock Hall, which is the new standalone expansion for the Gloom franchise by Atlas Games and Keith Baker. If you are not familiar with Gloom, you can check out our brief how to play up here. And that'll give you a bit of an overview about what Gloom is all about. Effectively, though, you are trying to make your family of characters the most miserable they possibly can be before you bump them off this and shuffle them off this mortal coil to score those negative pathos points. Whoever has the lowest score at the end of the game wins. This new expansion comes with a few extra goodies, but I'm interested to see what sort of cards are inside this one. So let's get into it. Let's get down to the table and we'll show you what's in the box. And there it is. This is the box for Gloomier, A Night at Hemlock Hall. As you can see, I dig in the purple. It sort of matches our theme, which is very good. Got this axe-wielding maniac in the back. So there's probably a few things that are a bit more sinister. But what I dig about this game, not just the transparency of the cards, the artwork for the characters is just so intense. It is compatible with the other games as well, I believe, and I think there's a bit more of a mystery element with this as well, which is fantastic. Let's rip into it, into this one here. Now, I hope I don't damage the box. If I do, though, that will be okay. I'll explain a bit about why later on. We've got the rulebook here, which has, which has the Grim Reaper. The art, I dig it. It's such a great game. I think on the back, a quick reference, which is pretty straightforward, how to combine with other games. This talks about different icons. And then you've got here in the rulebook, it should be pretty straightforward. I think it's a bit more detailed than the original, which is fine. Now it's even worse than these guys, which is great. Choose your family members, draw back up after you take 2 actions, etc. Cardinal rules of the game, how to score, how to win. Anatomy of the cards, card effects. So these icons overlay each other. They're the self-worth points and then different story icons. Extra icons allow you extra points, etc. How to have unwelcome guests show up and use them to your advantage or disadvantage. All that sort of jazz. It is a great storytelling game. I think if you love storytelling games, if you're a fan of D&D, you'll dig this. It's very much reliant on... I mean, you could just play the cards and call it a day, but being able to tell the story element of it really adds to it. Now, I don't know, because the cards are, as I said, transparent, so I don't know how or which cards are where. I'm sort of hoping to reveal the characters first, but we'll sort of just fly by the seat of our pants a little bit here. We'll see how we go. Here we go. They all come with this, they're not in shrink, they're just in like a paper bound thing, which is fine. We'll chuck that on the floor because plastic usually goes on the floor, but there is none, which is just weird. So the backs of the cards have the same gloom back as all the other games, and they've got those transparency with the dots, and as you can see, they overlay really well, but the transparency is just sick. It's so good. I love it. You've also got a bit of a reference card here, card effects, immediate effects, continuous, persistent, response effects, etc. And then guests and persistent effects. Flip this card over for instructions on starting the game with unwelcome guests, and then you keep that card in play, which is very cool. We have what looks like these are just generic cards that you can have in your hand. What I do love is if you've got a hand of cards, no one can see exactly what card they are because the artwork is so very, very cleverly planned out. They are just general effects and things, so I'll pop them there. I'm hoping that the cards won't fly everywhere. because it's all a bit crazy with everything going on. We are looking at, oh my gosh, they're flying a bit. That's okay. So we'll get some more paper that'll go on the floor because that's just how we roll. You've got some setup. For full instructions, see page 4 of the rulebook. Each player picks 4 purple characters, total of 2 green stories, 1 can guess from the game. Deal 5 cards to each player. On your turn, do this. Very handy, transparent, sort of how to play. We've got, let's have a look. We've got all sorts of stuff here. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. So some of these cards are double-sided, which is interesting. So if I go here, let's just put this to the side there for now. We'll come back to those in a mo. Hopefully I'm not going to lose everything. So these are the character cards. You have Adria Beauvoir, international jewel thief and con artist. What does she have her eyes on tonight? So these places here will be filled with points. That'll be filled with story icons, etc. Butterfield, the beleaguered butler. You have the Colonel. You have Evelyn Y, the scientist. Dire Omen, the sinister sorcerer. Fletcher, the villainous valet. Inspector Johnson, the daring detective. Oh, detective. What a shame. You're probably going to die first. Lady Lola. Madame Zora. Sally True. We are shooting in high def, so you can pause the video if I go too quickly. Sir Bromley, the bachelor. Yeah, you're in trouble. Don't give out roses. Sophie, the mysterious maid. Tex, the oil baron. The twins, the eerie heirs. I like that. Prudence. So those are 2 for the price of 1 if you can bump them off. Prudence. Jenny Nightingale. August Winters. The prolific poet. The Dowager. Grand Dame. Lord Wellington Smythe, Lord of the Manor. Now, he is in the base game as well, I believe. Harry Drake, the dashing daredevil. So these are all the characters you'll choose 4 and ultimately try and get them to be the most miserable you possibly can before the game is over. Now, these cards here, most of these are effects cards. So, for example, was swindled and swooned, -20, -40 points. Discard your entire hand when you play this game. Skip your draw phase this turn, which, if you can get it to the end, that's a huge, huge boon, but you've got to obviously skip a turn. Was trapped in a trunk, was trapped by vapors, and this is a death. Was killed by a kitten, +10 pathos points. Interesting. So when you're dead, that character obviously is deceased, rest in peace. The objective of the game is to obviously kill your characters off. Fatally smitten, fell while ballooning, was poisoned while pruning, fell prey to the plague. Reports were quite vague about the death. I like that. Went out on top. You didn't notice the drop. The first step is a doozy. I do like the flavor text on these cards. It's very, very, very witty. Killed with a candle. Couldn't handle the scandal. A lot of rhyme in these as well. Was shot at the shoot. Was slain for their loot. Wasted away. Was turned into pate. Died for love. Called the wrong bluff, made a tragic mistake, was done in by the cake, was found in the well, started to smell. Ugh. Now, these are different modifier cards. So you've got here alibis and things. Now, I believe these are new to this game. I could be wrong. Cancel untimely death for someone as it's played, or remove and discard an untimely death so you can bring characters back to life. Body double, crime wave, dramatic development, double cross, foiled again, the killer strikes, midnight surprise, mistaken identity, a plot twist, and a whodunit. Draw 1 card for each search icon in your family. Play 1 card, including an untimely death, as a free play. Then discard until you reach your current draw limit. Ooh, that could help you if you get that -40 card. You could knock off a character and help yourself score some crazy points. Now, if I look with the character cards, what I didn't show you, oops. With the character cards on the back of these is these best left unsolved final case. So these require search icons. At the start of your turn, you can play a modifier card with this icon as a free play. So characters alive, when they die, there's a mystery to solve as well. And that allows you to potentially earn more pathos points for your family. So you've got the final case, the alabaster albatross, That's So the Raven, Nevermore, Oh Snap. Broken Heart, The Murderer Is You requires 2 knives. You may plan time death on a card on a character with the icon as your second play. The Black Kitten, The Twins. Now, they follows. They love a good ghost story. So you bring them back to life. So there's double-sided on the actual player cards as well. Wow. So I wonder if you maybe use those as different elements of the game. That's interesting. There's different modes of play with this one. Now, there is also like a campaign mode, I guess, or a mini campaign mode with this one as well, which I think is fantastic. Balthazar the Dog and the Black Cat, the Brilliant Burglar. I like that. So they've got like an alter ego side. That's very cool. Digging that. Digging that. All right. So we've got the bits and pieces here. Let me see. So these ones are generic back ones. These are just generic cards that you use to play against to and from, but they add a storytelling element. So Cuddled with Cats, you might say, oh, they might have been feeling really forlorn after something tragic happened, but they were charmed and helped, not charmed, they were soothed because they were able to cuddle with cats. And that allows you to draw 2 cards, and you also add +10 to someone else, so you can play on other family members as well. Dance with the Duchess, Discovered a Diary. So these are all like +15 cards that will effectively add to your enemies or to your opponent's total. And then you've got your own red ones that you can add to your own characters. Again, -40 points. And as you overlay them, only what's on top counts. So you may have that -40, then someone will say a negative, just all zeros on your -20s, which obviously then, you know, negates all that hard work that you've done to try and make them as miserable as possible. -25, -15, serious business. That's all the cards in the base box, but because we love you guys and because we've got lots going on, we do have that campaign mode that I was talking about, the Gloom Chronicles. Now, this is for the base game of Gloom, but it is compatible with everything else as well. Now, this is effectively a way to chronicle your saddest stories in the Gloom Chronicles. Each of the 20 opaque foil cards in this expansion adds a new chapter in an ongoing campaign-style series of Gloom games. The cards give narrative prompts that tie those stories together, add all variant rules that bring all new challenges to every game. Will your family take a tragic train ride or visit the infamous World's Unfair? Explore their ignominious ending with the Gloom's Chronicles. So by opening up this fella here, which is ready to be ripped open well and truly, let's get this. Oh, more stuff I can throw on the floor. I was missing out on throwing things on the floor. Now these cards are larger, oversized ones, I believe. Yes. Oh, we've got some rules in here on how it works as well. We'll get that one aside. We'll come back to those. So the Gloom Chronicles here is 20 cards that just sort of set up scenarios for you. So creating the chronicle, setting up the game, choosing the chapter, setting sorrowful scenes, death and rebirth, etc. Because obviously each game, they come back to life. Chronicles cards, front and back, how it all sort of works. It's pretty straightforward. On the end of the reverse of each card, the awful aftermath of your chapter is described in brief. Also on the reverse side, suggestions for choosing the chronicle card for your next game. And ultimately, you keep track of who's been the most miserable throughout all the rounds, and then you can obviously work out which family is the worst. So you've got here the look at that foil. That's fantastic. Chapter 1 through to chapter 20. So there's enough there for 20 games, 20-game campaign, which is fantastic. Set up Core Gloom. The Wellington Smythe twins are having a birthday, and their proud papa intends it to be the grandest gala ever seen. The children's few friends, Melissa Slogar, cousin Mordecai, little Timmy, and Mina Malone, have all been invited, along with relations, entertainers, and additional servants. But there's a murderer lurking at Hemlock Hall, and it's only a matter of time until they strike. At the end of the game, everyone must sing Happy Death Day to the final character to die. Oh, what? And then if you turn this one over, the candles have been blown out and the cake has been consumed. If the sorrowful survivors head home on the train, go to chapter 2. If you take the children to Lord Bumpersnoot's extraordinary exhibition, go to chapter 3, which requires the Unfortunate Expeditions expansion. So, Everyone sing Happy Death Day to the final character to die. I love that. That's fantastic. And this one requires you to set up Call Gloom and Expeditions. I'm not going to go into too much because obviously I just don't want to spoil some of the stuff here. Long Nap. Oh my gosh. These are fantastic. So you could use them as singular one-shots to help with a storytelling element, or you can go for it. The Winter Wedding, Frightful Feud, Stage Fright, The Highest of Teas, Suspicious Seance, The Unwelcome War, and The Big Picture. Oh my goodness. Buddy Barb as a guest and The Broken Heart as a story. I love that. It gives you a bit of a core way to really tell stories and obviously help with other bits and pieces and storytelling elements as well. I love it. It's fantastic. Now, there is something else we've got here for you. With all these Gloom cards, with all the different expansions and things we've got for you, it's really hard to sort of work out what's going on. I mean, if I look here, I have got here, you know, the base game. The base game of Gloom is here. We have the Unwelcome Guests expansion. We have the Unhappy Homes expansion. And I'm sure somewhere around here, there's even more crazy Gloom stuff because I dig the way this game is played. So to keep it all in check, this also came with a Gloom case. Look at that foil. Look at that on the box. And I love all the icons and everything else is here as well. Now, this one was not sealed when it arrived, which is very odd, but that's okay. So there's no shrink to remove. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to clear some space and we'll get ourselves sorted. So give me a second. There we go. Amazing, isn't it? It's amazing what you can do with a bit of crazy editing magic. Now, the Gloom box is, or the Gloomier case, I guess, is actually quite deep. So the cards, I believe, can stand up at height. And it's got all those foil little bits and pieces. And there's a little bit extra inside as well. So let's lift the lid on the Gloom casket, I guess, for lack of a better term. And you can see all the bits and the goodies that are inside. So in here, you've got space for your rule books. And then I think there is enough storage here to fit every card that's ever been released for Gloom. All 1,500 cards, I believe, are all available here. Now, here we've got some lovely dividers. So if I look at this, I rip off more paper that I can throw on the floor. Paper. Throw paper on. Paper goes on the floor. It doesn't have the same ring to it. Now, these are a thick, almost like a plastic, really thick, I don't know, like a 400 GSM card. That's the base game for Gloom. Unfortunate Expeditions, Unhappy Homes, Unquiet Dead, Unwelcome Guests, Cthulhu Gloom, Unpleasant Dreams, which is that expansion, the Fairy Tale, Munchkin, so that's Fairy Tale Gloom, Munchkin Gloom, Space Gloom, Gloom of Thrones, which is awesome, Gloomier, A Night at Hemlock Hall, and then you've got some extra dividers just because. So if you want to break up Gloom into something else, for example, you can do that. So we have here some Gloom action. We'll pop in here, which all the Gloom cards will go in first. We'll put, let's see, all of the base game expansions behind there because we can. Now, that's one thing. I just don't know if there's space for the campaign cards. They may not fit here, but that's all right. We'll go and put this one, Night at Hemlock Hall, here. So all the cards preceding that will be from Gloomier, Night at Hemlock Hall, and we'll put these ones here because we can. Now, if I look at this, let's get rid of the box there. Let's go with these guys here, which are all from the Gloom base game. And I think what I can do is use those dividers to sort that out. So this is all the Night at Hemlock Hall stuff. So I could use the black dividers to say, right, that's people or whatever the case may be. Let's put these player aids in there as well, just for setup. The Chronicles I could put back in, but I think they'll fit there nicely, unless they can go in there too, which is also possible. It all fits rather snugly. Now, I probably need more Gloom now to fit it all in. So this is the rule books can go in here, nice and snug. I will show you a comparison with the rule book for the base game too, because it's just not the same. I think the original base game was obviously not anywhere near as, it was literally a leaflet from memory. This is it here, this is the base game rule book. That was it. Literally all you get, which is fine. And then we can put the base game cards in as well. And when it's all in there, you'll be able to see how you can order your entire collection. But as you can see, there is a ton of space here. Like this is the Gloom base game. And the game A Night at Hemlock Hall is only this much, so you can fit in all those other cards as well. As I said, there's over 1,500 cards that are in the base, the line as it stands at the moment. Unhappy Homes can come out now, and we'll put the rule book for that in there, although it's not really a rule book. I think it's a rule card, which is fine. In fact, I think this one here has the rules on it as well, which is awesome. Yeah, so I've got the Unhappy Homes. I guess the rule book for these is on the back of the box, so maybe if I really wanted to, I could cut that panel and put that in there as well, because it sort of explains a little bit about how it all sort of works. And then we've got the Unwelcome Guest expansion. I did like the fact that they used the back of the box as the rules explanation for how it works. It makes things a little bit easier. So then we've got the folks in here for the Unwelcome Guests. We'll put them at the front so we know, there he is. Boyles Malone, the ugly American. Ew. What have we got here? We've got, let's see, Unfortunate Expeditions, Unhappy Homes. So somewhere in amongst here we'll have Unquiet Dead, which is one I need to get. Unwelcome Guests, there we go. And there is the beginnings of my Gloom collection. I think that's all there is to it. Oh, one last thing. We probably need to put them all back to bed. Good night. Good night, you crazy Gloom kids. I dig this. I do dig this. The box, the foil on that is fantastic. It's really amazing. But let's come out and give you some final thoughts. And there it is, the contents of Gloomier, A Night at Hemlock Hall, and of course the Chronicles, Gloom Chronicles, and of course the Gloom case, big chest as well with all the storage solutions, which I do love a good storage solutions. There's a lot of cards there. Gloom is one of those games that is somewhat polarizing. Some people love it, some people hate it. So it's a bit like Munchkin in some respects. So the storytelling element though, if you're a D&D player and you haven't played Gloom, it's really worth checking out, because there's something about being able to tell the story of how the families meet their untimely ends that is terribly, terribly disheartening, but also incredibly, incredibly satisfying when you have someone who's telling you this massive sob story for their family, and then you just chuck a card that gives them plus 20 pathos points and wipes out all their hard work. It's a lot of take that action, and it's really, really fantastic. The production on this is fantastic. The cards look great. The transparent cards, always fantastic to see the overlays and things as well. The Gloom case is brilliant. It's fantastic. Really nice, sturdy. The foil on the top, the foil for all the symbols as well is really, really nice. The overprinting is fantastic on those too. The foil on the Chronicles cards, the big chunky cards we looked at, they look fantastic as well. Looking forward to getting through a few campaigns of Gloom with those. And sort of a bit of a choose your own adventure style. That's fantastic as well. Have you played the campaign mode? Have you had a go at Gloom? Have you had a look at Gloomier Night at Hemlock Hall? Have you discovered that you were the actual murderer trying to bump off the family members? There is a lot going on in this wonderful little card game, and if you had any experiences with Gloom Cthulhu, Space Gloom, Gloom in Space, whatever it's called, Gloom of Thrones, that sort of stuff, let us know in the comments below which version or which flavour of Gloom is your favourite. Always love to hear your thoughts about what you're playing and how you're enjoying the games you are playing. That's it for now. There is plenty more content coming your way. We have purchased and acquired some new gear, so there will be some live streaming coming your way, much more prominent than our GameLINK lives in previous years, only because we're upgrading our equipment, as thanks to our Patreons for that, because they have helped us reach those milestones. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. We really appreciate you guys allowing us to do all the crazy stuff that we do. Unboxings galore coming your way, playthroughs, maybe even some streaming D&D content coming your way. That's going to be amazing as well. So by all means, get on board. If you haven't already smashed that subscribe button, why not? I mean, my goodness, so much good content coming your way. Give us a like, smash the subscribe button. Small action from you means 1,000 thanks from us. So thank you for that. And we'll see you back at the table very, very soon. Be nice to each other. Play lots of games. See you soon. Back at the table. But it is bye for now.